Hello, everybody. Erik, Wórri here. If you can see me, you can hear me. Let me see some hands. Give me the thumbs up. Put a 1 in the chat if I'm showing up live and in color. All right, fantastic. I'm excited about today. I hope you got some good notes from yesterday, and we're going to jump right in, okay? Because we have a lot to cover. I'm going to be giving you some specific scripts on how to get people to take a look at your opportunity. I'm going to give you some specific ways to be able to handle objections and questions, and a specific process for closing distributors, okay? So be ready to take notes very quickly. I'm going to be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, okay? So let's get to training. Quantity is the solution to just about every problem that you have. Quantity. You need to just get this through your head. If you want to recruit more, you want to build a bigger team, you have to talk to more people. Okay? This seems like it's common sense. But common sense, I've found, isn't so common. Most of you are talking too much to like 5 or 6 people. You need to say less to more people. You need to be in more conversations and just let the numbers work for you. And just understand, if you're not influential, you have to talk to more people. And if you are influential, you'll have to talk to less people. But it doesn't matter. When I started, I was not influential at all. I had no credibility. But I was willing to talk to enough people in order to be able to bring in my 20, to be able to have my group that I would work with, and then I'd help them leave the nest, and then I'd bring in another 20, and then I'd help them leave the nest, and I'd bring in another 20. So quantity, get that through your head. Quantity will solve most of your problems. More presentations, more conversations, more people at events, more. It all starts with conversations. We went through the recruiting process yesterday of finding prospects, having conversations, transitioning the conversation, which we talked about yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about making the invite, presenting, continuing questions and objections, how to help people enroll. And we're not going to go into launching your new distributors today. We're just going to be talking about the process we went through the pivot yesterday. And today, we're going to get you all the way to enrollment. Okay? So if you're ready, put a 7 in the chat. If you're ready for this, you're ready for this fire hose, I'm going to give you the best I got. In the next 53 minutes, we're going to go hard. So as just a quick recap from yesterday, your goal is education and understanding. As you talk to people, your goal is to educate people to the point that they understand what it is that you have. Got that? That's it. It's not closing. It's not convincing. It's not twisting people's arms. It's just education. Because once people want to buy, they just don't want to be sold. How many of you like buying stuff, but you don't like being sold stuff? Put a 1 in the chat. If you like buying stuff, but you don't like being sold, right? So you buy stuff once you become educated to something that you want. Once you find out that there's something that you want that'll solve a problem for you, buying is not a hard decision. So once we educate people, that's the name of the game. And the presentation is not about you. Remember, we talked yesterday about third party. If you haven't watched yesterday, you're just going to have to keep up as best you can. Do we have different slides? Huh? I don't see this. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I was confused for a second. I'm like, what the? Anyway, so we talked about third party, and we talked about third party tools. There's a trust relationship between you and a prospect. There's a respect relationship between the prospect and the third party. They'll listen to a third party more than they'll listen to you. And we talked about 3 categories of third party: events, tools, and people. You want to introduce people to events, tools, or people. Anything that's not you. For your prospects. You can be a third party for somebody else's prospects, but for your own prospects, do not be a fact giver. Even if you know the answer to their questions, use a third party, because that will duplicate. If you answer their questions, it's a dead end road, because they're going to do what you did, and if they don't have the answer to their question, then they're done. You must teach. Most of duplication happens in the enrollment process. So if you don't do what you're asking the other people to do, they're going to do what was done to them. They're going to try and turn around and do with their prospect. So if you're an expert answering all the questions because you've learned everything, that's going to be fantastic for you. They're going to join, but now they're going to be stuck and just sit there because they don't know how to answer the questions like you do. However, if you remember, I was in the way yesterday of the opportunity. If you get out of the way of the opportunity and you introduce people to a third party, let the third party give the facts, that's something everybody on your team can do. You know, like we said yesterday, if your lips are moving, you should be asking questions, pointing, reading, introducing, or telling a story. Got it? If you're the third party to a prospect of one of your team members, you can be a third party. It's no problem. You can be one of the people that they use. But I'm talking about for your prospects. Don't answer a question even if you have the answer. It feels weird. Somebody asks you a question and you know the answer to that question. It feels weird not to answer it. But if it's your prospect, you need to be asking questions, pointing, reading, introducing, or telling a story if you want to have duplication. And this is a hard enough business to have. If you don't have duplication, what's the point? If they ask a question, you show them where the answer is. You introduce them to somebody that gives them the answer. Right? You guide them to a tool that gives them the answer. It's hard. Like if somebody asks you directions to a place and you know the directions, it's hard not to share them. This is a new tool. You answer their question with a third party. You just don't answer it with your own intellect. Is this making sense? If you're understanding what I'm talking about, put a 3 in the chat. If you understand what I'm talking about. You don't answer with your own words, your own intellect, your own knowledge. You answer using something else that validates it, which is something that they could do tomorrow. A lot of times a really good first step, as I said, events are the best. But it requires, you don't need to pretend to be dumb. Like you don't know the answer. You can tell them, I know the answer, but rather than me tell you, why don't I just show you? Why don't I send you this video that'll explain it better than I could? And if they still have questions, let me introduce you to somebody else that can answer that better than I could. Let me put you on a 3-way chat with somebody else. Let me invite you to this Zoom that's going to happen. Let me show you a Zoom replay that happened last week. Let me send you a copy of the compensation plan and you can take a look at it. You see what I'm saying? I know the answer, but I'm trying to show you how you can build this with or without having all the answers. Making sense? I was the wizard for 3.5 years. And I finally gave up on being a wizard, and I traded being a wizard for duplication. And I want all of you to have duplication inside of your business. I want everybody on your team to have the chance to be able to educate the consumer. And if you're using a third-party tool, you have a chance. If it's all about your intellect, you better be amazing and have an answer to every single question. Because if everybody on your team doesn't have an answer to every single question, then you don't get duplication. Took me 3.5 years to learn that lesson. And it was so hard, just like, I studied all of this. I watched every video. I knew the compensation plan inside and out. I knew how to maximize everything. And just zip it. And let me point to a video that explains the compensation plan. Garcia says, why is that? Here's why. Because the person that I enroll today can point to that same video tomorrow. They don't have to learn it. Now you get duplication. So, how many of you have a video that would help a person become educated about your product or opportunity? How many of you have one? Put a 2 in the chat. If you have a video. Your company has one, or there's one on YouTube, or there's one somewhere that you could share with somebody that would help to educate them. Now, let me ask you a second question. How many of you struggle getting people to watch it? Put a 7 in the chat. It's like you have the video, but you can't seem to get people to watch it. See, when I first started, this will date me, and some of you were around those days too, you actually had a video cassette that you'd have to try and get them to put into a VCR to watch. That's when I started. And I remember what first helped me with duplication, because I was no good, I would bring people to presentations, live presentations, and somebody else would do the presentation. It was great third party. But it was difficult to get people to show up to a hotel, right? And then when they came out with a video, I was like, oh my God, now I can have unlimited presentations going on instead of waiting till Tuesday night at the Sheraton. Now you have a link and you can have immediacy. And let's say it's a 7-minute long video. How do you get people to watch? I learned a script, and I'm going to give you a script that will take your percentage of people who will actually watch it from maybe 10% to 80 or 90%. Okay? Here's the script. Part 1. Hey, I have this video that explains what I'm involved with better than I could. It's 7 minutes long. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? If I sent you the link to it, would you watch it? I have this video, 7 minutes long, 10 minutes long, 5 minutes long, 12 minutes long, 3 minutes long, whatever. I have this video. I have this link. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? What will most of them say? Sure. Will they watch it? That's where most people stop. They send the link, and then it never gets watched. So the first question is only the setup. And it's important that you say, if I sent this to you, would you watch it? Wayne Wallace says, a person says, what is it about? It's 7 minutes long. It'll explain it better than I could. Do you have 7 minutes out of your life? Do you have 12 minutes? Do you have 9 minutes? Do you have 6 minutes? It's going to be faster than our conversation, and it's going to be better than I could describe it anyway. If I sent it to you, implying that I might not. If I sent you this link, would you watch it? Versus, please watch my link. Please, please, please click on my link. You're not a beggar. If I sent this to you, would you watch it? They will almost always say yes. Now again, this should happen off the platform you started the conversation on. Have a phone call, voice to voice, face to face, if you can. Okay? I've got a link that explains this all better than I could. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? Question number 2. They say yes. Question number 2. When can you watch it for sure? When can you watch it for sure? Now they got to go in their head and think about a time when they can watch it. I can watch it right now. I could watch, I'm really busy right now, but I could watch it this weekend. I cannot think about anything until after the first of the year. Doesn't matter. Whatever date they give me. They say, well, I don't know. Danielle just said, I've done this, and they refuse to answer the when. If they say, I don't know, I respond, if you did know, when could you watch it? So it's like, come on, it's 7 minutes. Right? It's 7 minutes. If you did know, when could you watch it? And I wouldn't be asking if I didn't think it was important, and I wouldn't be sharing it with you if I didn't think there might be a fit. And you can call me crazy after 7 minutes. You can say no after 7 minutes. You can say you got the wrong person after 7 minutes. Whatever you want to say after 7 minutes, but when could you watch it for sure? Just give me a time. And if they're wishy-washy, I said, look, just give me a time for sure so we don't waste each other's time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine. Fair? They'll give you a time. Third question. So if I contact you after that, you'll have seen it for sure, right? So if they say, I could watch it right now. All right, fantastic. If I call you in 10 minutes, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Yep. If they say, I can't watch it till this weekend. All right. If I contact you on Monday, you'll have seen it for sure then, right? This is the furthest thing from spammy. This is professional. I have this educational tool. It will explain it better than I can. It's X minutes long. If I sent it to you, if I sent you the link, would you watch it? Yes. When can you see it for sure? I can't watch it until after the first of the year. All right. Fantastic. If I contact you after the first of the year, on the second of the year, or the third of the year, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Yeah, for sure. All right, fantastic. What's the best way for me to get a hold of you? On the 2nd of January. I'll put it in my calendar right now. Now you're not bothering somebody. You're not chasing somebody. When you call them, you're just being a professional. You are doing what you said you were going to do. So if they say, it goes, if I sent you a link, would you watch it? They say yes, without really an intention to watch it. When can you watch it for sure? I could watch it tonight. Now they're thinking, oh, I got to make 7 minutes tonight because I got to watch this. So if I call you tomorrow, or I text you tomorrow, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Now they're like, now I really have to watch this. All right, what's the best way for me to contact you? Do you want me to text you? Do you want me to call you? How do you want me to contact you tomorrow? And what time? 10 o'clock, text me. Fantastic. Put it in my calendar. I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you later. Bye. Okay? You learn this. You do this with any tool that you can send somebody. And your viewership and your goal of education and understanding will go up 500%, 600%, 700%. Instead of getting 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 to watch, it'll be 8 or 9 out of 10 that will watch. Okay? Can I repeat the last sentence? The last sentence is just, so if I contact you, what's the best way for me to contact you after you've seen it? You want me to text? You want me to call? Again, I'm giving you concepts here, right? Don't worry about the exact words. If I were you, when can you watch it for sure? Now, if you contact somebody, let's say they say they're going to watch it this weekend. You contact them on Monday. Hey, you respond to them. What did you like best about the video? At 10 o'clock. And they say, oh man, the weekend got away from me. Don't get mad at them. Just say, no problem. When do you think you could see it for sure, for sure? And I literally use those words. When do you think you could see it for sure, for sure? Oh, okay. By tonight, for sure, for sure. All right, fantastic. So if I contact you tomorrow, you've seen it for sure. Wonderful. What time you want me to contact you? How you want me to do it? Okay? What I put in the video, I'm talking about a video that the company's produced or your upline's produced or somebody else has produced. I'm sure there's a video that exists in your company or that somebody's put together, even if it's a replay of a Zoom or something. Something that will educate the consumer, right? Got it? If you don't have one, then make one. Make a little overview. I've done that before. If they don't reply, now they're being a jerk because you scheduled an appointment. You set the time. You're being a professional. You're following up at the time you said you were going to. And if they don't reply, they say, I'm confused. You asked me to contact you at 10 o'clock on Monday, and I'm not hearing from you. What's going on? You're the professional. They're the amateur. If that happens. And will some people do that? Of course. Of course. But if you want to increase the rate, again, if they're ready to join, what we're trying to do most of the time is educate people by keeping the conversation going. Keep the conversation going. Keep the conversation going. If it's a longer video, Nina, you're going to have to frame it and you're going to have to do a little selling. It's 45 minutes. I know that might seem like a long time, but do me a favor. Watch 10 minutes of it. And if it's not holding your interest, feel free to stop. Fair? If it's holding your interest, then watch the rest. It'll give you a complete overview. You'll be completely educated on what's going on. Got it? This is what professionals do. And if they keep saying, gosh, time got away from me or the kids got sick or whatever, stuff came up, I would just keep coming back. No problem. Life happens. All I want to do is make sure you understand what I have. This video will do it better than I could. It's 30 minutes long. It's 7 minutes long. It's 8 minutes long. It's whatever minutes long. It's an hour long. And if they don't answer when you call them back, they're being the amateur, they're being the jerk. You scheduled an appointment. You can honestly be saying, I'm confused. We said we were going to talk. It gets discouraging, Gloria, if there's no response. It gets discouraging because you're usually doing step one. Let me send you a link. And that's all you do. You don't do the other 3 steps. And because of that, there's no implied responsibility for them to respond anymore. Do you understand? But if you schedule an appointment, there's an implied responsibility for them to respond. For them to be a person of their word, they would respond. Even if, and you could say, look, you could text them if they don't respond. I don't care if you say yes, you say no, this is for you, it's not. I just care that you see it. So don't get it twisted. I don't need you to join my business. I would just like you to become educated about it. That's it. It might not be a fit for you. Matter of fact, it probably isn't. But we should at least cross that off by you at least knowing what it is. Okay? So, listen, This is gold. Is gold. If you want to create duplication and be a professional, it's gold. And just keep rebooking the appointment over and over and over and over and over and over and over until, and I've said to people, look, I'm going to keep scheduling these appointments and we're going to keep wasting each other's time. Will you just tell me a time where you'll see it for sure? And then we can just have it be over with. So the next time that I contact you, it won't be, gosh, stuff got in the way. Can we please just get to that point? I'm just being a professional. And they're like, all right, fine. Good, because my only goal is that you understand what I have, not that you join. That's all I want you to do is understand. Okay? And you're going to keep the conversation going. What you need to understand is for enrollment, most people aren't going to join after one exposure. Okay? It's going to take multiple exposures. And I have a lot to cover, so we're not going to be able to go back to slides. I apologize. You're going to have to take screenshots or go as fast as you can or set up your phone to record or whatever you got to do. But we're going to keep moving, okay? The main reason to have any exposure is to schedule the next one. Anytime you set up an exposure, whether it's video or anything, if you don't finish that exposure without scheduling the next exposure, you messed up. At the end of that exposure, you must schedule the next one. Let me connect you with somebody who can explain this, put you on a 3-way chat. Let me send you a more comprehensive video. Let me invite you to a live Zoom. There's a local event happening, et cetera, et cetera. If they say it's not a fit, then it's not a fit. If they've watched it and they understand, that's fine. And here's something I want you to understand. This is what I call the clock dial. Take a look at this. This clock dial. Understand that all your prospects are somewhere in this clock dial. Between 12 and 3, something has changed in their career, their business, their life, but nobody knows. And they're just trying to fix it. They're unhappy, they're being treated badly at their job, or they didn't get a pay raise or whatever. Something's happened, but they haven't told anybody. They're just trying to fix it. Okay? These people are not good prospects because they're too focused on fixing the problem that had just showed up in their life. So if you find somebody that happens to be between 12 and 3, they might look at it and say, sounds interesting, but I'm focused on something else right now. Okay? From 3 to 6, something's changed, and now some other people know. Now their spouse knows. Now a few people in their life know. And they're still scrambling trying to fix it. But not a lot of people know. They're also not great prospects. They're trying to solve a problem. From 6 to 9, they start to become good prospects. Something's changed and now everybody knows. They lost their business, they got fired, something happened. Everybody knows. Those are good prospects because now they're open to change. Now they're open to something new. And from 9 to 12, they know they've got to make a change and they're wide open to possibilities because they got to do something. And what you want to do is be talking to enough people that you find people from 9 to 12 all the time. And you drip on people that are from 12 to 3. You drip on people that are 3 to 6. You get a few. You drip on people that are 6 to 9 and you get a few more. And you get a lot between 9 and 12. And here's the thing. I wish they would put something on their forehead that would tell you where they are. But guess what? People hide their struggle. They don't tell you that they're going through a struggle. They hide it. So your job is just educate and just keep the conversation going until they find themselves in the sweet spot, and then they're ready to go. Forehead notifications would be lovely. So let's talk about when you're prospecting, let's talk about questions and objections, because questions and objections used to mess me up. I want you to understand questions are your friend. If somebody asks a question, that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. It helps them clarify what it is that they're understanding. It helps them clarify their education. And it's really simple. If somebody asks a question, use a third party to answer it. Really simple. Somebody asks a question, you should be able to answer it with one of these things. Would you agree? That you should be able to answer it with an event, a tool, or somebody else? You should be able to answer that question. Don't answer it yourself for your prospects. Use a third-party tool to answer the question. Second thing to understand is objections are your friend. They seem negative, but they're actually a positive thing. And you're like, what? Objections are positive? I hate objections. I went through 3 stages in my career when it came to objections. Here's my stage 1 is I would agree with them and run away. They'd say, I don't have any money. I'd say, well, if you don't have any money, you can't build this business. Bye. Or I don't have any time. Well, if you don't have any time, I guess you can't build this business. Bye. Or I don't know any people, or I'm too shy, or I can't sell, or I don't like network marketing. I would just agree with them and run away. Okay? That was phase 1. Phase 2 is I got educated and I started to argue with them. And people say, I don't have the time. Oh, really? You don't have the time? Show me your phone. I want to see how much screen time that you're devoting to your life per day. Show me. You don't have any money? Oh, come on. Really? Or they'd say, oh, this is one of those pyramids. Oh, you mean like every corporation in the history of the world, every organization in the history of the world, every team in the history of the world, everything in the history of the world? Is that what you mean? So I would just light them up. And obviously, does that work? No, it doesn't work. You make them wrong and make you right. You feel better for a second. You win the debate and lose the prospect. So it's like, I had to learn to just bite my tongue when some stupid, ignorant person would say something about the profession that I love so much. I mean, I had one response. I'm just remembering this now. Here was my response when people said, oh, is this one of those things? Here was my response for real in phase 2. Oh, you're one of those people. I swear. And another one that I had, this is for real. Another one that I had that I haven't shared in forever is, you think network marketing is a scam? You shouldn't say that out loud because it makes you look really, really stupid. I literally swear to God would say these words to people. And I had some swagger, right? But I didn't get the results. And finally, and some of you are good arguers when it comes to objections. You got the money, you got the time, stop it. You know, network marketing is legit, and let me prove it. So I finally got to stage 3. And stage 3 is I use the objection as an opportunity. I finally realized that the objection was an opportunity. I just needed to have a structure to answer it. Here's some common objections. Take a screenshot of this because I'm not going to go through them all. But you've seen all these. Pyramid scheme, you know, I got to pray about it. You know, I need to talk to my spouse. You know, you've seen all these. You've dealt with all these, right? Really, there's 2 general types of objections. Just 2. I don't even need to leave that list up because you already know what the objections are. There's just two. They have a limiting belief about themselves, or they have a limiting belief about network marketing. That's it. And once you get it clear, it's only one of two. They have a limiting belief about themselves. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't know enough people. I'm too shy. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. Whatever. I don't know anybody. Or they have a limiting belief about network marketing. It won't work for me. I've tried it before. I know other people who've tried it. I think it's a scam. It's a pyramid. It's illegal. Blah, 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 blah. It won't work. You got to abuse your friendships. You got to abuse the relationships in your life. They have their general objections. Let me give you a 4-step formula to handling any objection. Okay? Here's a 4-step formula. Ready? Number 1, listen with respect. Listen with the intent to understand what they're actually really saying. They say they don't have the time. Tell me what you mean when you say you don't have the time. Are you saying that clarify it for me? Like if success was guaranteed, would you have time? If you knew you could succeed here, would you have time? If you passionately believed in the products, would you have time? If you could see a way over the next 3 years to have some different choices for your family, would you have time? Or do you really just, they're in the 12 to 3 clock dial and they're trying to solve a problem and, they're going through a divorce or they're taking care of elderly parents or something. They've got stuff going on in their life. Fine. But listen with the intent to understand, to really clarify what they're really saying. Sometimes they're saying, you haven't shown me enough to justify my time. Fair. Let me show you more. Because I think, if you're intrigued enough, we can go farther. But listen, relate to them. This is really huge. Learn how to relate to them. And here's what I mean. If somebody says, once you listen, say, I don't have time. Say, you know what? Guess what? When I looked at this, I didn't think I had time either. We're the same, you and me. Or if they say, I just don't like network marketing. Guess what? I didn't like it either. I thought it was a bunch of baloney. Or they say they don't have the money. I didn't think I had the money either. I was, who has a lot of extra money laying around? Or I didn't think I could start a business either, or whatever the objection is. We're the same. You thought the same thing I thought. Isn't that crazy? Now we're on the same team. Then number 3, tell a story. Your story or other people's stories. Okay? If you can tell your own story, it's always good, but sometimes you can't. Let me give you a couple examples, and we have to go fast. So I'm just going to use one objection. Let's use, I don't have time. Okay? I don't have the time. It's a common objection. And I ask some questions and I get full understanding that they could have some time, but they haven't seen enough to justify their time. Then I'm going to relate to them. I totally understand. I didn't think I had time either. Who has time in their life? When I looked at this for the first time, I was trying to take care of my family, trying to take care of myself, trying to take care of my health, trying to take care of my job, trying to take care of my house. Having any free time at all was just like a foreign concept. I was scrambling all the time, trying to keep all the balls in the air, keep everybody happy. And the idea of trying to start a side hustle stressed me out just to even think about it. So I totally get what you're talking about. But let me tell you what I realized for me, okay? What I realized for me, I'm not pointing to them, I'm realizing this for me. I realized that if I didn't have time at this stage of my life, what was going to change that was going to somehow give me time? How could I buy my time back? If I stayed in the same path, was I ever going to have time? Was I ever going to have freedom? Was I ever going to have choices and options? Or did something have to change? And I realized for me that my current plan was never going to have me have any time. So I decided to take this limiting belief about no time and say, you know what? If I could figure out a way, get creative, get rid of some distractions, carve out 10 hours a week in order to be able to build something for myself and for my family that 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I can have different choices, different options, different opportunity, that I would be using those 10 hours to buy my life back and buy my time back. So that's what I decided to do. I realized for me that for things to change, I had to change. And I had to open myself up to new ideas because what I was doing was not working. Now, could I tell a similar story about not having money? Could I tell a similar story about not being a salesperson? Could I tell a similar story about any objection? Of course. But I put it on me. And then I say, let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to find the time, and if I could show you that your time would be well spent with a side hustle like this, would you be at least be willing to take the next step and learn a little bit more? If I could show you. Right? So these 4 steps, if we were together, we would do some role playing, we'd practice. We just practice over and over and over with every objection and cover these 4 steps until you got it. I just realized I was going to deal with these objections for the rest of my career, so I might as well get good at it. So I just found a formula, these 4 steps, and they've worked amazing. I'm not a salesperson. Same thing. Gail, same thing. My story would be, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an introverted person. I don't like selling stuff. But what I realize is all the wealthy people are salespeople. All the people who've built anything great are salespeople. So I realized I had to become a situational extrovert, even though I was an introverted person. I realized that for me, the salespeople are making all the money in the world. And make no mistake, Elon Musk is a salesman. Make no mistake, Jeff Bezos is a salesman. So I just went, you know what? I got to relook at this. And you know what I found out? I still don't really love selling products, but I love selling ideas. And that's why I'm talking to you. So if I could show you how you could do this with your personality, would you be willing to at least take the next step? Yeah? Now, there's sometimes when you're not going to be able to relate to them. They say, I can't do it because I'm eight months pregnant. As a guy, you can't say, me too. You know? It's like you have to like tread lightly. But you could say, hey, I would never pretend to understand what it's like to be 8 months pregnant and ready to have that baby, but I can tell you, I do know some people that joined our business when they were 8 months pregnant and their life was full and it was the best decision they ever made. If I introduced you to them, would you be willing to talk with them and find out how they did it? So I could tell somebody else's story. So this little formula will change your life. Okay? But you got to practice. If you want to become a doctor, you have to practice for like 10 years. You have to go to school for like 10 years. I'm not asking you for 10 years on objections, but can you give me 3 hours of practice? Most of you have never practiced an hour on objections. Not even 1 hour, and you're wanting to build an empire, but you haven't practiced a single hour. Practiced. You practice on your prospects. It's like a medical student practicing on patients, cutting away. You don't, please get together with your friends and practice a little bit. Give me 10 hours for each skill and you'll be good. So let's talk about closing. I told you I'm going to go fast, but this stuff is all gold. It works in every country in the world, with every company in the world. I've taught millions of people how to do this. Let me give you a 6-question enrollment process. Be ready to take a picture of this when it's done. I will walk through it with you. After every exposure, the first thing out of your mouth is usually, "What'd you think?" which is a bad question. It invites a person to be a critic. It's a bad question. The best question is, what did you like best about what you just saw? What did you like best about the video? What did you like best about the Zoom? What did you like best about the event? What did you like best about whatever? What did you like best about the conversation with my friend? What did you like best about the presentation? Question number 2, and they'll answer. And honestly, their answer doesn't even really matter. It just gives you some clues. Okay? To let their level of interest. Somebody could say, "I hated everything," and I could still enroll them with these 6 questions. Swear to God. So, what'd you like best? Question number 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you have absolutely zero interest in this as a business at all. You don't want to pursue it. You don't want to hear any more about it. And 10, you're ready to get started right this moment. What are you as a number? Just to give me an idea. And I won't hold you to it, just, between you and me. Let them give you a number. You're going to get a lot of 5s and 6s. If they say 7, they're joining. Okay? 7 or above, they're joining. If they're like a 2, you got some work to do. They need some convincing. Fine. If they're a minus 20, I can still close them. That's how good I am. And I'll teach you how to do the same. Question number 3. Hypothetically, between you and me, how much would you need to earn per month on a part-time basis in order to make this worth your time? What would you need to earn per month in order to make this worth your time if you're going to start part-time? Just hypothetically. What would you need to earn? They'll give you a lot of 500s, 700s, 300s, 1,000, 2,000. They won't go crazy usually. They'll give you a number. And say, "I don't know, I don't know." Well, if you did know, what would be a number that would interest you? That would be worth your time. Here's what's really good. Everyone has a number that's worth their time. Everybody has a number that's worth their time. Yvette says, "Do we really want a team member who has to constantly be convinced? Below a 4 to 10, better leave them alone?" No. Give me a critic that gets converted and you have somebody forever. Give me a cynic that becomes a believer and you have them forever. I don't mind somebody who's skeptical. Sometimes the skeptics become the biggest leaders. The people who join immediately without thinking about it, sometimes those people disappear super fast. Of course. So, you get an answer to that question. Question number 4. Realistically, how many hours a week could you commit to building that kind of income? Whatever the income they said. Let's say they say $1,000. Realistically, how many hours a week could you commit to building $1,000 monthly income? They give you a number. Okay? Question 5. how many months would you be willing to work those 10 hours a week while you were building? Let's say they said 10 hours. How many months would you be willing to work 10 hours a week while you were building $1,000 monthly incomes? Because it's not going to happen immediately. It's going to take a little time to build it. How many months before you say, you know what, enough, I'm not doing it anymore? You're going to get a lot of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, right? And then you just put it all together. Question number 6. So let me ask you a question. If I could show you how to develop $1,000 monthly income, working 10 hours a week in our compensation plan over the course of the next 6 months, would you be willing to at least take the next step? Okay? This is thermonuclear. If you learn this and you train this, I'm telling you, let me just do a hypothetical for you. If we were live, I'd role play it. What'd you like best? I hated everything and I hate your face. I think the products are garbage and I think the company is a total scam, pyramid, nonsense piece of garbage also. And I can't believe you've wasted my time showing me this video. Okay. That's an interesting answer. I think I know the answer to this question, but I got to ask anyway, just for fun, because I've never had a response like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you have a 0 interest, and 10, you want to join. I'm guessing your number is kind of low. Yeah, it's like minus 50. Okay. I never got a minus 50. But can I do something just for fun? And I know you don't want to join. And I know you hate it, and I know you hate my face. You won't have to put up with my face for much longer. I just got to ask a couple questions because I'm super curious. Hypothetically, and I know you're not going to do it. I know you're not going to join. I know you hate it. I know you hate me. But hypothetically, if you did join this business on a part-time basis, how much would you need to earn realistically in order for this to be worth your time? Because there has to be a number. Nobody's going to say there's 0 number. There is no number. Come on. What number? What would be worth your time if it was real? Just assume it was real for a second. $3,000. Okay. Now, and again, I know you're not joining. I know you hate me. I know you hate the company. I know you hate the product. I know you hate my face. I know you're a minus 50, but you have a $3,000 number that would be worth your time. I know you probably don't believe you could earn that here. That's fine. But if you were able to be convinced that it was possible, how many hours a week could you realistically commit to building a $3,000 monthly income? I don't want to do it. I know you don't, but just hypothetically, if you did, how many hours a week could you commit to $3,000 a month? 15 hours. All right, and how many months would you be willing to work those 15 hours while you were developing a $3,000 monthly income? I know you're probably not going to. I'm just curious. How many months would you be willing to do it, whether it's this opportunity or another, right? How many months would you be willing to do it before you threw in the towel? 5 months. All right, I got to ask a question. If I could show you how to develop a $3,000 monthly income and you believed it to be real, and you put this through the hardest due diligence you wanted, and you became convinced that $3,000 a month was possible, if I could show you how to do that in 15 hours a week over the next 5 months, if I could show you, introduce you to people that have done it. I know you don't like my face. I'll introduce you to some other faces so you don't have to look at mine. You can ask them. Would you be at least willing to take the next step and learn a little bit more about it? I've done this with people who said I'm a minus number. Because everybody has a number that's worth their time. Everybody. And all I'm trying to do is get them to the next step. And what you're going to get mostly is really nice people that say $500, $700, and I can carve out 9 hours a week, and I'll give it a year. And can you show them that in your compensation plan? Of course. You can point to your compensation plan. You can introduce them to somebody else who did it. You can send them another video. Here's some magic words and phrases in this enrollment process. And you heard me say it over and over. I'm not holding you to anything. This is hypothetical. This is just between you and me. Help me get an idea of what you might be thinking. Just really to get them off the hook. Right? Give them an out. Give them every out. And then practice this over and over and over and over and over and over and over until it's natural. There is not a single situation that I cannot handle with these 6 questions. Now, I'm not convincing somebody to do something that they don't want to do. I just want to get the next exposure set up. If they're ready to join, I'll enroll them. If they're not ready to join, I'm just going to set up the next exposure. You understand? It's going to take more exposures in order to be able to, in person, it's like 4 to 6 exposures. Online, it's like 20 exposures on average before somebody's ready to join. They look at this, they look at that, they talk to this person, they try the product, they attend an event, they watch a Zoom, they're ready to go. Right? The more you can condense the exposures, the better. Okay? So that's the whole recruiting process. Love y'all. I've enjoyed spending two days with you. All right? Take care, everybody. Mwah! Lots of love.